Glad you're back with us. Let me get back to Congressman John Shimkus from the 15th District in Illinois, kind enough to give us some more of his time this afternoon. Congressman, let me ask you for a moment about this claim about Russian hacking. Now, I've argued that it's been largely overblown, but Lindsey Graham and John McCain and a number of people have called for congressional hearings on this. What do you think about it?
Well, I think there's going to be hearings. I think it's going to be referred to our House Select Committee on Intelligence. I think I saw Senator Corker announce today that he was going to have hearings into it. Listen, I do Eastern European issues. Shimkus is ethnically Lithuanian. I served on the NATO Parliamentary Assembly. The Russians are bad guys, and they do destabilize, and they do hack, and they do bribe, and they do all those things, and they've been doing it to their Eastern European neighbors since the wall came down. So I don't doubt that the Russians are trying to do whatever they can. Having said that, raw intel comes from NSA, and it goes to a lot of different agencies. It goes to the CIA, it goes to the FBI. The CIA came to a conclusion that, obviously the Russians were. The FBI is saying, well, not so fast. We're not drawing that same conclusion. I have no problem with it, the referral. We believe in transparency and openness, and that's why we have the committee process and let our committees of jurisdiction, dig into it and see what they find. I've been pretty amazed at the allegations by people claiming that it somehow calls into question the outcome of the election. I mean, there weren't Russians voting in Wisconsin. That's just so bogus. But just to speak to a point of what you try to do is, the best defense against foreign intrusion in our political system is an educated voter. So no one's making accusations that they tampered with numbers, they hacked, the vote count. What they're saying is they distorted information and maybe caused someone to vote the way they didn't want to. That's what they're saying. And that is shame on us or the uneducated voter for falling for false stories.
Yeah. Very true. I'm guessing that Mike Pence, being a former member of Congress, is really going to grease the skid, so to speak, in terms of what Donald Trump wants to get accomplished, because he's already got relationships with a lot of the congressmen, correct?
He does. He is well respected. He and Paul Ryan are pretty close. I'm pretty close with Mike Pence, and I think that has helped, get past the election and some of the issues that some of my colleagues had, in supporting the team. I think we're just now putting all that behind us, and this is our opportunity. We realize, and you said it, and a lot of the folks who follow your show and follow me, they say, we gave you your House, you didn't do anything. We gave you the Senate, you didn't do anything. Well, now we've given you the presidency, and you better do something. Yeah. And we know that, so we've got to get to work.
Yeah, that's true. And the greatest thing I can think about Mike Pence is that he used to be a radio talk show host, which speaks very well of him, right?
Yeah, besides himself, he got on that. But then he went to another favorite profession called politics. So
Exactly. Let me get you to shift to Illinois politics for a minute. I've been following the budget debate over there, and Governor Rauner has, I said earlier in the show, thank God that he's the governor, because if not, Mike Madigan, some of these folks would continue down this economic death spiral that they've got going up in Springfield. What do you make of these budget negotiations and the fact that Governor Rauner's been unable to get them to come to the table, really?
Yeah, first of all, the biggest harm is the social welfare agencies. A lot of them are Christian in nature, where the Lutheran Social Services or Catholic Charities, stuff. The people that get contracted to help deal with, people who are just out of jail and trying to find a new job or drug abuse stuff, and so that's the real harm. But look at this. As much turmoil and frustration and angst that's occurring in Illinois, we have a governor who's fighting to try to right the ship, and he's I mean, he's put his money where his mouth is. This guy could go anywhere. He doesn't need this hassle. He just is a proud Illinoisan trying to right the fiscal wreck that we're already in when we're taking on water, but no one knows. They don't. The perception is that we're not as bad as we really are. We are the largest debtor state per capita, per individual citizen of the country, and God bless him for having this fight. You know, Mike Madigan's been the Speaker of the House. You know, your Missouri listeners are going to be shocked. He's been Speaker of the House for like 37 years.
Oh my goodness!
So he is the power, and this is a titanic clash between Republican governor and I would argue the most powerful Speaker of the House in the country right now.
And do you see a daylight on the other side of this? I mean, all Rauner is trying to do is get a few cuts put in place, and that seems to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I used to represent parts of the state capitol, so I was a little bit more in tune to their plight. Of course,
right.
I represent large swaths, so I talk to state senators and state reps all the time. This election, can you imagine? I think $40 million was spent for Republicans to pick up 4 Republican House seats and 2 Republican Senate seats, and we're still in the huge minority in Springfield. So, having said that, he's trying. I don't see an immediate fix on, an immediate one within a month or two. I think it's going to go a lot longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't see any easy solution to that. Congressman John Shimkus, listen, I appreciate you giving me some time today. Merry Christmas to you, and be sure and keep in touch with us as things get rolling again in January, because I'd love to get you back on once you guys are back in session and we find out what's happening.
Happy to do so more. Merry Christmas to you, and take care.
Congressman, thank you. Congressman John Shimkus from the 15th District over in Illinois. It gives you an idea. I mean, for those of you who've heard me on here complaining about what they're doing in the State House in Illinois, they've had the same speaker up there for 30-plus years, and the governor can't negotiate with him. It's his way or the highway. It's crazy. Think of the amount of debt. And I know a lot of it comes from up north, but think of the amount of debt you taxpayers in Illinois are saddled with. You ought to be lighting up the phone lines into Springfield and making some of these folks feel the heat. They've got to get their house in order. It's going to help when Trump starts bringing some jobs back, don't you think? See, Granite City Steel is going to put a couple hundred people back to work. Left and right, they're slowly starting. These corporate leaders are starting to realize that they need to get out in front of this. So hopefully we'll see more of that, and maybe it starts to turn the economy around a little bit. That's going to help. That's going to raise all ships if the tide is going up a little bit. Let me get to Ted, who's been holding on for a long time. Ted, thank you for being so patient.
Okay, Mark. I want you to know you're still my favorite talk show host of all time.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. High praise.
I wish you were syndicated nationwide. Okay, my daughter heard on Mark Levin last night that the Secretary of Treasury pick has some ties to George Soros. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not. You talking about, is that Show? Is that who they picked?
Whoever
she was for labor. She was for labor.
No, Secretary of Treasury.
Yeah.
That his pick has ties to George Soros.
No.
If that's the truth, that's just scary.
Well, I mean, Soros has cast a wide net, but I'd be interested in finding out who. I'm not even sure who is Trump's Treasury Secretary.
I didn't
Has
hear
he
it.
announced?
My daughter was listening to Mark Levin.
Oh, is it Steve Mnuchin? Steve Mnuchin, isn't it?
Who?
It's Steve Mnuchin. That's who it is. Yes.
By the way, I don't know if he's picked the Attorney General yet or not, but I can't see anybody in that position but Trey Gowdy.
It's Jeff Sessions.
I know, but Trey Gowdy would make one heck of an Attorney General.
couldn't agree with you more.
Sessions?
Go ahead.
Did he already pick Sessions?
Yeah, he picked Jeff Sessions, but what you need to do is go back and Google Trey Gowdy and the haircut commercial that he did when he was running